Welcome to Podsdale, brought to you by the City of Scottsdale. Join us to explore the stories that make our city a world-class community.
Welcome back to Podsdale, the official City of Scottsdale podcast where we take you behind the scenes of the services, stories, and people that make Scottsdale a world-class community.
Today, we're talking about Scottsdale Airport, a bustling hub for businesses, tourism, and economic development.
Joining us is Kelli Kuster, Aviation Planning and Outreach Coordinator for Scottsdale Airport. She's here to help us understand what goes on at the airport, how it serves our community, and what the future looks like through a comprehensive master planning process that's already in motion.
If you've ever flown out of Scottsdale Airport, driven past it, or just wondered what's happening over there, this one's for you.
Kelli, thanks so much for coming on today. We're so excited to have you.
Thanks, ladies. I'm really happy to be here. I appreciate the opportunity.
Let's start with basics. Can you give listeners a quick overview of Scottsdale Airport?
Absolutely. Scottsdale Airport has a very long, proud history. A lot of people don't realize we got our start back in 1942. It was a training facility during World War II. It was referred to back then as Thunderbird Field 2, and about 5,500 pilots got trained there before the end of the war. And then shortly after that, Arizona State Teachers College, which is now more formally known as ASU, they took over the property. They had a few different classes, woodworking, metal fabrication, and then the Seventh-day Adventist Church. They took over the property, and they had Thunderbird Academy. After that, 1966, the city has owned and operated the airport ever since. So just a few fun facts. We are a general aviation reliever facility. We are a single runway airport. It operates in both directions. We have over 400 aircraft based at the Scottsdale Airport. And in 2024, we pumped over 17 million gallons of fuel. So we're happy to showcase our airport for anyone who wants to come and visit. We have an observation deck that's open 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. You can go out from the second floor of our Aviation Business Center and watch the planes arriving and taking off. Also offer customs and border protection. So if you're flying in from out of the country, we're able to give you that airside service and access, which makes us very, very popular and a nice alternative to the lines at Phoenix Sky Harbor that you may experience.
Very cool. In your role as Aviation Planning and Outreach Coordinator, just how do you find yourself at Scottsdale Airport? What's your background? Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and how you fell into this role?
Absolutely. I kind of have one of those fun little cute stories. So my dad worked for Phoenix Deer Valley Airport when I was growing up. He was an operations tech. The director of Phoenix Deer Valley at the time was Gary Mascaro, who was the aviation director for a very long time at Scottsdale Airport. So while I was working in the city manager's office as executive assistant, there were 2 retirements that were happening at the same time up at the Scottsdale Airport. So I reached out to Gary and put my name in the hat to get up into aviation because it has always kind of been a passion of mine to be around aircraft and to see just the amazing things that it's able to do and what we're able to accomplish. Aviation is a massive industry, whether you're in a city job like I am, or you want to get it into maintenance or fuel or charter operations. There's so much that you can do and learn. And so when the opportunity became available, I jumped at it. And here I am.
Very cool.
I love that background story.
Yeah.
It goes to show that there are so many different jobs within the city, and you never know where you can end up, right? Starting in one place and moving to another.
Absolutely, yeah. The path and the journey for me has been very exciting. Mayor's office, city manager's office, and now aviation. It's pretty unique, and I couldn't be happier with where I'm at.
That's super cool.
Going back to the airport, who uses Scottsdale Airport? Are we talking mostly private jets, charter flights, corporate travel?
Any and all of the above. So we have a very large corporate jet base. A lot of different businesses are utilizing Scottsdale Airport as their hub, as their base location. We have a lot of private owners and operators. So they're basing their aircraft with us. And what's very unique about Scottsdale Airport is it's not just airport property. We have something called the Air Park. And so with that, we allow through the gate access. So you could be in your private hangar on your private property, and you go through the permitting process with us so that you can access our gates and access our taxiways and our runways. That's very, very unique. Not every airport has that. We also have flight schools at our airport. We have about 8 to 10 flight schools. So we have students that are getting trained at our airport. So it's a variety of different users that we have and accommodate.
Okay, this might be a silly question, but if you're someone who owns an airplane, where do you store it? Where do you store it?
We have a few different options. So depending on the size of your aircraft kind of depends on where you can store it. But there's on-airport hangars that you can lease from us, the city. You can also lease those from different hangar shade leasing companies that are available. And then again, there's private property that's surrounding the airport. So there's a few lots that are still available to be developed. There's a few lots that can be redeveloped, but we're really landlocked right now. We don't have a lot of space for expansion, and we can't really grow up necessarily just because it's an airport. So we can only grow out, but again, we don't really have a lot of space available. The few vacant lots are going to get developed. There's probably a few more, but we're a pretty popular place to be, so we don't have a lot of space.
I think you asked that question, Greer, because you're thinking ahead, right?
How did you know?
For when you run into that problem.
Yeah, because I'm going to own a private jet one day.
Probably a G650. That's what I can see you in, something like that.
She'd look good in that.
Say less. I'm there.
How many flights take off and land at Scottsdale Airport each day, roughly? And what kind of traffic do you see?
So depending on the time of the year. So on an average day, I would say 400. We're probably having 400 takeoffs, landings. So we count it as operations. An operation is a takeoff or a landing. During the busy times, January, February, when we have events, signature events going on in Scottsdale, we're well over 500. So when we look at it at a yearly average, we average about 167,000 operations a year in any given time frame. So we're busy.
What does that compare to like other airports in the area?
So if you look at Phoenix Sky Harbor, they're, I think, the number 11th busiest airport in the nation. So that's, that's something that we can't really compare ourselves with. So that was a poor attempt there just because they have commercial service, something we do not have. So if you look at other valley airports that are general aviation facilities like ourselves, I would probably put us at the busiest because when we do our annual commission meetings, we're reporting to our commission that we are the 9th busiest corporate jet facility in the nation.
Wow.
And that is going against airports such as Teterboro, who is typically number 1 in that category. But Teterboro Airport is going to have multiple runways, whereas we only have one. So if you look at general aviation facilities with a single runway, we're usually number 1 and number 2 as far as operations go.
That's impressive.
Very busy.
And when we have those signature events here and people are flying in, that's a great time to go to the observation deck, see some planes you may not normally see.
Absolutely. You will see a variety of planes and sizes. And I always recommend that everyone come in the evening, right at dusk, when the sun is going down in January and February, when the weather's a little bit more optimal. You have the runway and the taxiway lights lighting up. It's a beautiful scene. The McDowell Mountains are in the background. Volanti is right next door. It's a very unique and fun atmosphere for sure.
I was going to say, you guys have that restaurant on property, Volanti. I've been there before. It's delicious.
Absolutely. And everyone always thinks, well, you work with them, so you say that for a reason. I have tried almost every menu item, and it's fantastic.
No,
And
it's true.
Yeah, they have great specials too. So highly recommend.
Highly recommend.
I'm thinking we may need to make a trip up there with the office.
I'm down.
Why didn't
I'm
we do
there.
the podcast there? We should have.
Darn
next
it.
time.
Thinking probably the background noise might be a little bit of an issue.
Oh, we don't need to talk about noise, do we?
So I guess we could go a little bit into the airport and the surrounding community. How does the airport impact the surrounding community in terms of safety, economic development? Could you expand a little bit more on that?
Absolutely. So the exciting thing about us is that in 2019, we had a statewide economic impact study done, and that showed that the Scottsdale Airport and the surrounding air park had about a $1 billion impact to the community. We are currently starting, or in the middle of, I should say, our airport master plan. So with that, we're having a new economic impact study done. So we're really excited to see what the updated numbers are showing us from 2024. Those are the numbers that we're going to be using. As far as safety goes, we have a very long, very proud safety history record. We are always focused on safe and efficient operations. That's the number one goal for the aviation department and any of our tenants or subtenants that are operating on the field. With any airport, you're going to have noise. Noise is always going to be a part of the discussion when you have an airport in your community. And so we have a responsibility to educate the community and do what we can to let them know a little bit about us. We invite folks to come out and learn about us, and We have a noise complaint line where you can call in and make a complaint and you'll get a call back. We have the availability for people to go on to Scottsdale EZ and make a noise complaint that way. We always want to let people know that we have a noise abatement program. We work really closely with the pilots and the operators on the field, asking them to follow noise abatement procedures, which depending on which runway we're using, that kind of depends their route that they're taking to try and avoid communities as much as possible. We have other things like a voluntary curfew program. We ask our pilots and operators to avoid flying, if at all possible, between the hours of 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. just to be a good neighbor. It's not something that we can require just because the FAA doesn't allow prohibitions like that, but it's something that we ask. And we do have a pretty good relationship with our operators where they will do what they can to avoid. We have medical evac flights that happen. We've got trauma facilities all over Scottsdale, so we do have a lot of activity like that occurs at night. But for the most part, we probably average less than 10 flights between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m., so we do get a lot of cooperation in those areas.
That's good to know. It sounds like a respectful relationship.
Absolutely.
Let's start with the basics. You mentioned the airport master plan. What is an airport master plan, and why does Scottsdale Airport need one?
An airport master plan overall is a visionary document for the airport. It's something that looks at what can the airport become in the next 5, 10, and 20 years? What can we anticipate happening in aviation that will directly affect us as an airport? So we need this to be prepared. We want to make sure that Scottsdale Airport is keeping up with aviation trends so that we can still be that safe, efficient provider for all of the general aviation and corporate aircraft to still utilize. No one anticipated COVID, right? But we were able to use what we had available for us at the time to make sure that we were still successful during that time. So that's what a master plan is what can we anticipate and how can we be ready for it?
What are some of the key areas in the master plan that you're focusing on?
The big thing for us, the big push that we get and requests that we get weekly is, can Scottsdale Airport accommodate larger aircraft? So right now, Scottsdale Airport can accommodate an aircraft up to 100,000 pounds in maximum certified takeoff weight, which is about a 100-foot wingspan. However, the manufacturers of aircraft, for instance, Gulfstream and Global, they want to bring in larger aircraft than that. And so we are looking to see, is that possible? If we can go bigger, how much bigger? What does that look like for us? What does that look like in terms of safety, impacts to our pavement, that sort of a thing? So that's one of the big factors that we're looking at. The other thing that we're looking at is right now, currently, our Alpha taxiway is heavily used. A lot of the businesses are on that side of the field. But there's going to be some new development with some new hangars on the Bravo side of the field. And so we want to make sure that we have everything in place to accommodate all those new aircraft that are going to be coming in over the next 5 years. So those are probably the two main proponents. We also have a sustainability chapter as part of the master plan. And so we've done a whole inventory study on the sustainability side. And we're very, very excited to see what our consultant comes back with for that portion of it.
Very cool.
How often does a plan like this get updated, and how far ahead are you looking when creating it?
So typically the airport master plans, depending on the airport, are done about every 7 to 10 years. The last airport master plan at Scottsdale was in 2015. That's when it was completed. So we're right on track for that 10-year mark. We started September, October timeframe of 2024. We're hoping to wrap things up early 2026 with council approval. And so again, this document is looking at the next 5, 10 to 20 years of what's going to be happening in aviation.
What kind of role would community feedback play when you're creating a master plan?
Major role. We have our Scottsdale Airport website for the city is set up to bring you directly to the Scottsdale Airport master plan website, which is, if anyone's interested, scottsdale.airportstudy.net. So on that page, we have a whole section dedicated to public comment. At any point, anyone can email me for public comment on it as well. And as part of the master plan 18-month process, we have 4 different public houses that are scheduled. So we've done 2 already. One was in October of 24, one was in March of 2025. Our next one we're anticipating to be most likely sometime in October of 2025. And then we'll have another one before we finish up. So at any point, we will be putting out an email blast, social media, on our webpage, what that workshop is, what it's about, what we're going to be discussing. It's an open house format, and we invite the public to come to that so they can submit their feedback to us as well.
I know this is still right in the middle of the process, but are there any plan changes that residents might notice in the coming years, either visually or operationally at the airport?
I can't think of anything visually at this point. So the next chapter that we're going to be getting into is going to be discussing just that, though, the facility requirements. So we have done the inventory chapter, which is how is Scottsdale currently operating? What do we have? We've also done the forecast chapter. That's where our consultants really start to look at aviation over the next 20 years and try to anticipate the changes that are going to be coming. So now with that information, we want to talk about, okay, with those changes, then what can we do to be prepared for that? So this next chapter is really going to be the bulk of what can we expect as far as changes go.
So what's going to happen once the plan is finalized? How's it going to be used? Who's going to be responsible for making sure that everything comes to life?
So the interesting thing about the plan being finalized is there are only 2 sections of the plan that are actually approved by the FAA, and that's going to be the forecast chapter. We actually just submitted that. We're waiting for approval on that right now. And then it's the ALP, which that stands for Airport Layout Plan. That's kind of this massive map of what we think we may build in the future to get ready for any sort of changes, but it doesn't mean that we have to build it. It's just a plan. We could do it. So we will go to council for approval of the overall plan, like I said. And really, it's kind of up to the aviation staff and our consultants that we have hired to see what is best in the plan that we actually do need to implement based on the different trends that are going to be coming our way. So we have a 5-year plan of different projects that we'll be putting into that, different CIP, capital improvement projects that we anticipate doing, but it doesn't mean that we have to do it. So the big portion is we always want to make sure our pavement is taken care of. That's very, very important to an airport. So we'll have a lot of pavement preservation in the plan. But as far as anything else that's for certain that's going to be happening, it's just a visionary document. We want to make sure that we can be flexible with that document as well.
Okay. So what message do you want people to walk away with when they think about Scottsdale Airport's future?
I think thriving is the message. We're very much sought out within the aviation community as a destination and a place to be. And we want to continue to be providing that service at that level. And so all of the work that we're doing now is to make sure that we are going to be able to achieve that goal. And so I see us as only thriving. I don't see us as getting noisier. I don't see us as getting louder and not necessarily bigger, possibly busier. That could be something that I anticipate. But I really think that Scottsdale Airport will continue to be that gem not only for the city, but for the aviation industry overall.
With your experience at Scottsdale Airport, do you have any cool moments that have happened or like funny stories or something that really sticks with you?
So many cool moments. I will try to narrow it down, though. One thing for me personally that I thought was cool, being someone that was born and raised in Phoenix and an avid sports fan, was growing up watching the Suns and the Chicago Bulls always battle in the playoffs, which I thought was so neat. Michael Jordan flew in once to the Scottsdale Airport on his airplane, and I didn't get to meet him, but he was out on the ramp, and I could see him from afar, and I could see his aircraft, which was very unique and very, very cool. But I would say overall something that we've been doing that's rather new for us, we've done 3 movie nights at the airport. We had heard about other airports doing it, and it's such a unique thing to, if you think about it, open up our gates, our security gates, and have all of these people sitting out on the ramp and watching a movie while jets are taking off in the background. It's been wildly successful. We've gotten so much positive feedback on it. We have food trucks. We have a variety of different type of movies that we've played, everything from Top Gun to we just did The Sandlot. And it's been a huge success for us. And it's been a really great way to connect with the community because we'll have static airplanes on display so they can come out and take a look and get that up-close view. And we've got everything from infants all the way, up to folks that have lived in Scottsdale their entire lives but have never been to the airport. So for me, that's been really, really exciting because you kind of give the public that different view of the aviation world, which has been fun.
So watch for more movie nights, hopefully happening in the future. Take a stop by the airport take a look out on the observation deck. So many opportunities to visit the airport if you haven't been there before. And Kelli, can you share the master plan website address again?
Absolutely. That is scottsdale.airportstudy.net.
Okay, wonderful. Where you can find more information. Kelli, thank you for coming down to the podcast studio. In hindsight, we should have gone to the airport, but here we are.
Yep.
Next time.
Next time.
Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks, ladies.
That's all for this episode of Podsdale. If you enjoyed listening, be sure to subscribe. You can find us on YouTube or in your favorite podcast app. Share episode ideas and provide your feedback by emailing communications@scottsdaleaz.gov. Thanks for listening.